Hello everyone and Merry Christmas Eve. As tradition goes, I'm making the exit sign and emergency light test video right before Christmas, so let's go ahead and get started. So you can see right here I have my Light Alarms X series exit sign. This right here is an incandescent exit sign with battery backup. Right now it's got LED bulbs in it though. I don't really like using the original lamps because the original lamps are like 50 watts, which is terrible for efficiency, and then also it fades the faceplate really fast, which is no good. This sign right here has the arrow punched out. I know it's generally frowned upon to punch out arrows in signs like this because they don't go back in, it's just a knockout, but I have a ton of these X series exit signs, so the fact that this faceplate is missing an arrow is not going to be a big deal. And then also this one also points that way. Usually for Christmas, I like to do a red sign and a green sign. So this right here is the green sign, obviously. So if we go over to this sign right here, this is the red sign in the same field of view. So you can see this right here is a Begilly exit sign, but it's a fully steel exit sign and emergency light combo. This sign here looks a lot older than it is. I think it's because it has this huge steel body with the battery box at the top, and then it has these nice big lamp heads on the side. These signs here with the LED faceplate but incandescent lamps are kind of getting phased out because I think people are having a tendency to just go all LED. It makes less sense to have something like this where you have half of it LED and the other half incandescent when LEDs are so cheap these days. But nevertheless, I like having retro units kind of like this one and that one up. I just feel like it's a little more festive, but I'll go ahead and give it a test. I'm too short to reach all the way up there because my ceilings are kind of tall. But I can go up onto the side here where there's a stairwell and then hit this. You can see it has this nice incandescent glow. And then once I let go, you'll see that the charge light comes on, which indicates that the battery needs to charge a little bit. And then very quickly it'll top off the battery and it'll stop. Fun fact, when I first started using the basement as the hobby headquarters, I moved down in December. And this was the first sign I put up down here for the first holiday season. So I decided to put it back up for my senior year because this is probably the last time I'll have this setup up. But yeah, kind of nice to go back. So going over to this part of the basement, I have this ELM2 emergency light. This right here is a second generation unit, so it's kind of older. It has this nice square type or more bricky body to it, but it has these incandescent lamps on them. It's kind of cool. If I go ahead and give it a test with this pool stick right here, you'll see that it lights up like an emergency light because that is what it is. Kind of nifty. Yeah. In the boiler room, we have this exit sign. So this is a Lithonia Titan exit sign. It's battery backup, of course. It's incandescent also, which is why it's so bright. It has these two huge lamps in it right now, but they're also both LED. It also has this really nice little downlight. I think this one's really cool. If I go ahead and close the door, you can see it kind of lights up the door. It's basically just a huge light fixture, honestly, because this sign has such bright bulbs in it. But if I go ahead and hit the test button, which I can't even reach, that's embarrassing. You can see that this one actually cuts off the AC bulbs, which is kind of nice because a lot of the incandescent stuff just turns on the two emergency bulbs, but it doesn't actually turn off the AC bulbs, so it's really hard to tell if the unit's actually working. This one actually switches off the AC lamps, so you can actually see the battery bulbs go on, which is kind of cool. And then over here I have a Lithonia ELM2. This is the same model technically as the one you saw out there, except this is a third generation model, so it's a lot newer. And just hit the test button here. Lights up. MR16 lamp heads, kind of cool. One's adjusted down here, the other one's adjusted kind of in this area, but yeah. And also we got the lights here. Out in the white room I have this. This is a Prescolite EDS2 emergency light. It's pretty standard. This one right here has a battery in it that's pretty large. This one's pretty high output, so this one is actually really bright for an incandescent emergency light. And then over here, matching the Prescolite stuff, I have a Prescolite exit sign. This right here is also a battery backup model, which is why it has that huge battery box at the top. And yeah, out here in the bathroom, I have this. This is a new location for an exit sign. This is the Surelights LPX exit sign combo, except this is rebranded by All Pro. Basically the same thing though, except the lamps have no reflectors and it says All Pro on the faceplate. But I decided to run an additional wire because basically these two signs right here are actually, that's also technically new. I forgot to mention that. This was the original spot, and then I ended up just deciding if the wire has to run over here anyways, may as well just splice a box here. And then I also decided may as well put an emergency light or an exit sign or something here, because why not? So here's a LPX combo. It's pretty nice. You can see if I turn on the lamps, it lights quite a lot up. But yeah, let's go ahead and flip off these basement breakers. You're gonna see how the Christmas lights turn off and the emergency lights turn on. Fire panels in trouble. So you can see the ELM2 is lighting up this area pretty nice. This is a really nice incandescent emergency light, or rather halogen, because it kind of lights up the egress path a lot better than a lot of the other ones with no reflectors. These ones are really bright, especially if you look into them head on. And then this right here is a nice incandescent sign. Very even illumination of the faceplate because the sign is just so thick. In the main part of the basement, this ELM2 is lighting up. You can see this one's also pretty decent for an incandescent emergency light, although it's not as good as the 3rd gen units. These square reflectors are not really that good, but I mean, you can see, so I guess that counts. If I put it in 0.5, it kind of looks a little dingier, but maybe this is more realistic right here. The sign is lit. You can see that the illumination is a lot less even because the bulbs, the emergency bulbs that are powered by the battery, are a little farther apart in the sign, but I guess it doesn't matter because it says exit, and that's really what you need from an exit sign. You can see in the reflection from the window that this sign is really bright. I think it's something to do with the round lamp heads. Emergency lights with the incandescent bulbs, especially where they kind of rely on the reflector to do good, the rounded reflectors are just so much better. You can see how bright this thing is. It's really nice. It does a good job lighting up this area. You can see really well, and it's quite nice. The LPX also does a really good job in here. Even though it has no reflector, a lot of people clown on exit signs and emergency lights and things like that with no reflectors and just instantly dismiss them as bad quality, but honestly they do good. They scatter the light really well, especially in smaller spaces like this. Like obviously you can't mount these things like 200 feet up in the air in a huge warehouse and expect it to light up, but for what they're designed to do, they do fine. So this sign is lit. You can see pretty decent. And then in this room, this thing is really, really bright. It's one of the only incandescent or halogen emergency lights you can't stare into because it's so bright. But you can see it lights this whole room up really, really well. This is kind of the storage room right now. So all this crap you can see in an emergency. And then this exit sign is lit. Not too much to say about that. This sign actually has LED bulbs inside. I put these LED emergency bulbs in there. They're supposed to be for pinball machines, but they work well in the exit signs. So there you go. There you go. Get a look at what this place would look like in an emergency. Let's go ahead and turn the power and the Christmas lights back on. Out in the garage, I have this thing right here. This is an E-Top Lighting, I believe, is the original brand. Generic exit sign. These things are manufactured by probably tons of different companies. I think the original manufacturer is Jiming, because they make everything, but this is an older style of generic. Again, it has a really retro appearance, which is why I picked it for this garage, because it's fairly energy efficient. Like this exit sign is LED, but it's got the older tandem style mounting where you have an emergency light on top of an exit sign, and it's also incandescent where the emergency light is. So I'll go ahead and hit the test button here. You can see fairly decent. Again, these lamps are square, so it doesn't really look that bright head on, but I guess it scatters the light pretty well. It's decent for what it's supposed to do. All it needs to do is just illuminate the exit pathway. So go ahead and turn off the power and see what this looks like. There you go. That's what this thing looks like when it's lit. You can see it's pretty nice actually for what this is. I'm pretty sure this is one of those like late 90s, early 2000s generics. So the fact that this exit sign is as bright as it is kind of impressive. A lot of these generic units, even some of the name brand ones, the LEDs just fail so quickly. So this one's pretty good for what it is. I think this is supposed to be kind of their answer to the first generation Lithonia Quantum units. That's kind of what inspired these square head style generics. But I mean, this one's pretty decent for what it is, especially for the price point these things probably sold for. Not bad. That's gonna do for today. Merry Christmas Eve. Happy holidays to you if you don't celebrate Christmas. Also, another fun fact, this sign right here was also one of the first signs I put up in the basement. It was also here for the first holiday season. It was also here for the second time I ever put signs up. And I guess it's kind of a staple, so I decided to put it up for the third year because it's kind of iconic. But yeah, thank you for watching. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow for the fire alarm special. Have a wonderful holiday season.